just on mainstream media. Let's now listen into what those trends are. Wahiga.
That's right. Thank you, Janet. Hussein, very quiet. Maybe a bit of a heated interview there. does he still have his voice?
Well, I'll let Janet speak. Janet speaks for all of us, Wahiga.
Because you're a gentleman.
Janet is the queen.
Because you're a gentleman. Wow, you started early.
He started very early.
Very early. Let's get straight into the day's trends. First one, let's talk about the hashtag bandit economy. This was a term by the Chief Justice. He said this in early February or late January in reference to the state of the economy. This was in an interview that he did. I looked for the word in the dictionary. There's no definition for bandit economy, but I think you put those two words together and you can guess where he was leading to with everything that's been happening over the last couple of weeks, affidavits, and of course money stolen as well. Anyway, lots and lots of people went onto social media to talk about it in different countries. Kenya primarily 84%, a bit of conversation in the USA 13%, and 1% in Canada.
Right.
But what were they saying? Let's take a look. First things first, Tajuddin Abbas saying the Honorable Chief Justice is one of the sincere and honest Kenyans we have. Kenya is indeed a bandit economy. Truth will outlive a lie. So he agrees with that word in description of where we are right now as a nation. Bamianga Nderema says top story is corruption. Story 2 corruption. Story 3 corruption. Monday, Tuesday, Sunday. Only in Kenya. And I noted today our top story was also a corruption story.
Yeah.
So that is what people are saying on social media. Fana Dixon is saying Kenya, the third most corrupt country in the world. This is according to a survey that was released last week by PricewaterhouseCoopers, especially in regards to economic crimes. So hashtag bandit economy been a big talking point. Let's move on to another, Save Karura Forest.
Yeah.
This is a story, Hussein and Janet, that's been in the news over the last couple of weeks. There's a particular block, Sirigia block, that's been contested. Different reasons as to what is actually happening there. But at the end of the day, Greenbelt movement and many Kenyans on social media concerned that there could be construction there. This has been a very big hashtag. 3.6 million people have talked about it. 321 users, over 500 posts. Where have people been talking? In Kenya, 88%, in the USA, 4%, and in Great Britain, 1%. Let's take a look at some of their sentiments. The Wangari Maathai Foundation picking a quote by Wangari Maathai herself: if we cannot sustain the environment, we cannot sustain ourselves. In reference to conserving, OWA saying Wangari Maathai did not fight for Karura for herself. It was for us and future generations. Of course, very many sentiments on that same regard, that everything must be done to save Karura. Githaiga Wachira says, I was at Karura when criminals were sent by senior political criminals to assault Wangari. I will be there again should anyone try to breach that wall. People very passionate about this forest. And of course, Philip saying maybe we need a national Karura Forest Day to remember this forest if anything should happen to that. But of course, the Kenya Forest Service have tweeted and said that they're doing everything to ensure that the forest remains as has been protected.
Okay.
So I believe we leave that at that. Yellow Box says, I'm curious to know, Hussein, Janet, do you understand?
I do.
Yeah, Mike explained it really well.
Explain to us. Explain to us, Hussein.
I understand. Maybe you should start with Janet.
No, I said Mike explained it very well. You see what he's doing there, Wahiga? Why do you
I try explaining it halfway and then she finishes, because I know she doesn't understand.
I do.
I'm sure you don't understand.
I do understand.
Okay,
well, Mike explained it really well.
Let me give you a bit of
now that time is
Your explanation
moving,
is Mike explained it.
Mike explained it brilliantly.
Well.
Michael Janga did a great story, but go ahead, Wahiga.
Let me explain very quickly. It was introduced.
Wahiga is just the same thing that has been there always. Do not enter a junction until it's clear.
Except now it's enforced.
Yeah.
Now it's enforced. It's been used in the UK since 1967. And we are adopting it this month in Kenya with the hope, of course, of making sure that there's no blockage at any junction. 1.3 million people talking about it on social media. Let's take a look at where they were talking about it. 93% in Kenya, 4% in the USA, and 1% in Spain.
Spain?
Yes, believe it or not.
Interesting.
I must give a disclaimer, however, they could have been talking about the yellow boxes in their country.
Maybe.
So, you know, there's always room for error whenever you look at statistics. Some pictures of the yellow boxes. What I expect is that if it works well in Nairobi, that could be implemented in other cities across the country. And very few sentiments, Soko analysts asking, these yellow boxes, how do they work? Aren't traffic lights enough?
That has been the problem always.
So traffic lights for you are the problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll have to explain that again after the show. We move on. And Mathiri Root asking today, is this a traffic pile-up, the effect of those yellow boxes in the CBD? 40 minutes and we haven't moved. Confusion. is a big challenge.
This is just the beginning, by the way.
You think it might get worse before it gets better?
Yeah.
As Kenyans take time to acclimatize. And finally, DJ Pisces on a lighter note says, even pedestrians need yellow boxes. Madem wakileta upuzi tutakuwa tunaweka huko. Ndani ya yellow box. So, food for thought on a lighter note. We move on to something that's been in the headlines for the last couple of days. Opportunity for Morris. Morris being Morris Mwenda. A 15-year-old person who was recorded by the Homeless for Nairobi, and that video went viral, talking about how people living on the streets need opportunities. You can see the statistics. Over 2.4 million people went on, talked about it again and again, and in different countries, including in Uganda, 1%, and if you can see that on the next slide, 90% conversation in Kenya and 3% in the USA. Now, that young man had a chance to meet the Chief Justice.
And he's actually interning there now?
Yeah, over the holidays, he'll get a chance to intern there. And this is what he had to say.
I wanted to be a lawyer, so I have learned how.
You want to be a lawyer?
Yeah. So I have learned the way, the path that I should follow, so as to be a lawyer. I've also known about the Constitution. As you can see, he has given me the Constitution, so I will try to lead it. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Such eloquence.
Yeah, that's amazing. And he really talked about opportunity.
Yes.
And I hope everyone can get that opportunity.
And over again, I'm curious to find out what Hussein would have said if he had that same opportunity at 15 years old. And what people were saying, Juguna Mwaura, opportunity for Morris, video of him went viral, the power of media. And a quick one here, Martin Kinyo saying, can we convert opportunity for Morris to hashtag every Kenyan street kid matters? So not just dwell on this one, but take a wider stance. Now, we've been talking about lions for the last 2 weeks, and nobody's actually seen them, Hussein. That was something we were talking about a couple of days ago. But here's one lion that we have seen.
They say it doesn't matter where you come from, only where you're going to.
That's a snapshot of a video done by Victor Wanyama titled Lion of Mudhurwa. And Kenyans went online to talk about it. Some didn't quite know whether it was the lions that had gotten lost in Mudhurwa. And the first tweet there, Tony Mutuma saying, I say he thought it was one of the Langata 6
My goodness.
again, and somehow was in Mudhurwa, but great video by Victor Wanyama. Irungo Antoine saying, for dreamers, life is a way of getting better, in tribute to where Wanyama has come from and where he is right now, playing in England. And Kulain Collins saying, such an inspiration, but at the same time, the African story is so cliche. Interesting post there, Janet. Is the African story cliche?
Is the African story cliche?
Yes, that in every video that you watch about Africans, you're poor once, then you're rich. Is that always the line?
Yeah, it still is. There's such a long way to go before there's a different narrative in how stories are told about Africa. But that's a whole other discussion. So,
and all the same, of course, we are proud of what
we are. Very much, very much. And of course, Janet, the last time, a couple of months back, you surprised Hussein.
Yes.
With something you did.
Yes. Now,
somebody took a cue from what you did and did it to their co-host.
Oh.
Have a watch, and then I'll tell you a bit more about that.
Okay. A very good morning to you, and many thanks for joining.
Hello. Habari? How you doing? Nimekuja kutoka mbali, nimekuwa kuna safa sana, nimekuletea mkati, loaf na soda. Daktari alisema tusilete mingi, nilete tu kiasi. I know you're healthy. Sasa nimekuletea.
Yeah.
Willis Traburu is such a...
Why are we even surprised that he would do that? Willis.
Let me explain to those who may not have been watching the Power Breakfast, I beg your pardon. On Monday morning, Willis has been away for a couple of weeks. He had injured his leg.
Yeah.
And Kirigo believed he was going to be away for an infinite time. He told her that he's still very hurt and he won't be back. So you know the mental concentration when you're about to kick off the bulletin. You've got your global intro there and your mind is all set. And then someone starts shouting Kiswahili, ngoja, ngoja, ngoja.
Anakuletea mkate nusu.
And Hussein is still recovering from what I did to him.
I know he is.
Yeah.
I know he is.
Okay.
Okay.
She's
well,
asking for it.
those are some of the big trends. We'll see you again next week. Thank you.
Right. Wahiga Mora, thank you.